From this moment on, you will now be known as Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh-ha-ha!
Welcome, brother Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh-ha-ha!
Enough of the Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh, but.
Oh no, what could it all mean? We got an aquarium, we got pine, we got ideas. This can only mean one thing. Bum bum bum. So here we go, YouTube. Let me walk you through what we're doing here. So basically, I got all my components here that we're going to use on this build. I got my my pine rather, that we already went through, my trusty cordless drill, and a Craig joiner, a Craig bit. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the Craig bit, you see a lot of stand builds and aquarium builds, and you see these big old screw holes where you got to fill those in there and join them with putty. What the Craig jig actually allows you to do is get a very smooth finished product by allowing you to angle joint all of these pieces of wood so that you don't see the screw holes on the outside. So just a little thing. And what makes this project special to me is I really look forward to hearing all the comments. I get a real kick out of the guys that I meet, some of the women, and guys that I met at various reef events, at our Brooklyn Aquarium Society meetings. Very nice people. One thing I've learned, aquarium people are some of the nicest people on earth. I've gone everywhere from Cape Cod to the Bahamas, and I've met such nice people and really good hearts. So this gives me an opportunity to give back. I want to give a shout out. It's a Brooklyn thing. We got to give a shout out. I don't know. I want to officially say we invented the shout out, but I might be robbing somebody's thunder. So King of DIY. Yeah, Joey, man, I've gotten inspired by many of your projects, so I want to say good shout out to Joey. Jean Rosa, the artists. I still want some art, man. I'm willing to pay for some art. That woman got some artistic skills. Too many. I want to kid everyone. I don't want to leave anybody out. Reefer Gill, James Connery, just a lot of y'all. I'll shoot some credit to the end because I don't want to sit here mouthing off. So basically what's going to make this, getting back on track, what's going to make this the exceptional project, at the end of this project, I'm going to turn it into a contest. Not only are you going to help me at various parts in this project, this being part one, I'm going to give my subscribers, viewers, the opportunity to bid on the finished product at our upcoming Aquarium Society meeting. So let me shoot you through the rules because there's got to be rules. So first and foremost, let me put this down. In order to take part in the final auction of the final product, which is going to be a beautiful finished nano system, planted aquarium, whatever you want to use it for. Rule number one, you got to be a subscriber to my channel. 9 out of 10, you're already a subscriber or you wouldn't be seeing this video. But for those of you who aren't, you got to be a subscriber to my channel. Number 2, you got to like me on Facebook, D from Brooklyn Aquatics, because that is where I post my weekly events. I post the Brooklyn Aquarium Society events. And in order to know when this is going to be available and up for auction, and yes, you're going to be able to bid on this at our aquarium auction. If you haven't been to one of our Brooklyn Aquarium Society meetings, you don't know what you're missing. So the final product is going to be for auction. Only people that have liked me on Facebook and that are subscribers to my channel will be able to take part. Number 3, you got to post a comment. I'm going to give you the opportunity to vote on certain things, and based on what the winning votes are, I'm going to sway this into the final product. I'm going to give your input the final say as to where this goes. So alright, let's get into the actual build and let me get off my tuchus and let's go. Okay, well, I'm going to give you a little rundown on attaching them. As I mentioned, I'm using a Craig jig, and what the Craig jig is allows you to cut these angled circles here so that you have a nice clean finished side like this piece here. This is 2 separate pieces of pine and strong as a rock. You couldn't take that apart if you wanted to, and the holes are well concealed. As you can see on the other side, it looks like one straight piece of pine, and believe me when I tell you this piece is strong as a rock. So that's just to give you the breakdown of why I use the Craig jig, and I'm just going to throw some in. I'm using 1.5 inch wood screws, and backing it real slow. And you really can't see it on the camera, but as you get this in and it penetrates, it joins that wood. Boom, solid. Solid. One solid piece. Let me do one more. And that's pretty as easy as it gets. You know, you don't have to worry about it being visible or what kind of screen you got, because it is a very, very solid piece. And it's simple as that. So, take out my vise here. I already screwed the first screw in earlier, and there's your supports. Boom, solid as a rock. Holes on one side, nice and clean. I can fill those with wood cement or wood putty, or I can just leave them because you can't see them. And the other side is nice and clean. Now, before I prime it, stain it, or shellac it, whatever you guys decide, I'll probably give it a nice little sanding to just make sure the finish is nice and smooth. And we'll go on to the next phase. So, all right, let's put these down and go on to the next part of the build. So I've fast forwarded a little bit in the process, and as you can see, your basic frame for this tank has been assembled. Now, one thing about pine is a very, very durable and clean wood, which is why most people you see assembling stands and furniture will use pine. Pine absorbs a stain very well. You can put a lacquer, a stain finish, a shellac, or your choice of finishes on it, and it will pretty much still maintain its nice, clean, and woodsy look to it. You know, even in different finishes, what I like to do is sand it to give it a nice, clean finish to absorb the stain or whatever I choose to do with it. But let me take the my phone off its little stand and give you a closer look. I showed you that I used the Craig jigs, which otherwise known as a pocket hole jig, to assemble this, because here is why. I'm going to stand this up because it's pretty dark in my workroom here. See this? This is the way you buy furniture. I'm no pro, I'm no carpenter. I've been doing a lot of builds and worked in facilities where I did a lot of builds out for a lot of years. And one thing that I know, my wife don't like to see things in a house that looks like I just basically built it in a couple of minutes. So the idea is to have a nice clean look. And if you go in the inside, there's your pocket hole, you know, made by the Craig jigs. And it gives it a nice clean look. I haven't sanded it yet, but look at it all the way around. Gives it a nice clean look, you know. And the strength, I'm going to put the camera down and I'm going to show you something. Okay, now I'm going to show you something about the pocket jig. Combine a pocket hole jig like the Craig jig and a nice good piece of pine, and I said it's strong, people. I'm about 200 pounds. I can jump on this thing. It is strong. Look at this. If you don't believe that, I am on it 100%. So, if anybody has any doubts, and that's just me getting crazy, I told you I keep my sanity by keeping aquariums. I'm nuts. This is a strong system. I can put tank rated 10 gallons up to a 20 extra high, whatever. I'm not worried about nails popping out and all of this mumbo jumbo like this. So, you're probably getting me in and out of the shop because I'm not holding the camera, but it's very sturdy, it's very clean looking, and that is the reason why I use the pocket hole jig. So as you can see, our little project is at the voting stage. So this is where we get to have some fun. I'm going to make it very simple. Now, as you can see, we got the basic layout as to what the tank is going to look like. And one of the first things that we're going to vote on is, as you can see, I've laid out the door, but I have not finished the door. There's your little pocket holes, you know, here, giving it a little structure. And the reason I made this door strong is it's going to give us a voting option down the road. But before we get to that, first thing, here's where you make the choice. We have this stand. We have a typical nano, If you look at some other things that I've done, this stand is very old and will be replaced. This is the planted tank that you've seen in a lot of videos. As you can see, this was many moons ago. It's rather old. I used a laminate rather than real wood, and that is going to get swapped out. So there's a preview. But if you look, you'll see that, like that tank there, I had a quarantine / grow out tank underneath. So with that in mind, do you, the viewer, want to put a shelf down here? So if you look at this, we have room here. We can put a little shelf down here, which will be behind the door. Do you want to put a shelf down there for supplies and so forth? But you can see it when the door is open. So unless I put it very high up, right about there, which doesn't really give you a lot of room for a lot of stuff, maybe some food. There's a lot of room. You can't see it because the tank is hidden in this here. Or do you want to leave this out? Do you want to put shelving in there? Do you want to leave it out? If you leave it out, it leaves a lot more room to access a tank here. You may put a 5-gallon, 5.5-gallon tank down there for the quarantine system. You can put plants there. Either way you slice it, it's going to be hidden behind the door. I'm debating whether I want to put glass here in this little insert. I'm going to make it a glass door. I'm going to put a decorative back there. If you put a tank, of course, underneath, you're going to want to see it. So you may just want to put a glass door down there. So, do you want to put shelves here? Vote number 1. Leave your comments in the bottom so I can look at it. And second option is, I like to crown and make details in projects. So this is going to be a finish here. You're going to have a nice little finish here to make it official. And then you have a little molding to hide the black from the aquarium. So do you want to leave that there? Or shall we put additional crown molding underneath? So, kind of hesitant. I'm not sure about the crown molding. Only thing about the crown molding is, in a tank this small, you really won't see it. You don't want to get all gaudy. It gets kind of gaudy. Sometimes you put too much stuff on a tank. So I'm going to leave it up to you to decide. Shelving, no shelving. Glass, no glass. May not end up with glass, no. We'll leave it up to you. And last but not least, anybody come up with a color for this? Do we want to shellac it and leave a natural look? Do we want to make it black, give it that firm contemporary, you know, that modern apartment look? Or do we want to darken it like a oak type finish? So once again, leave your comments in the bottom, and that's where I'm going to cut it off. So this is D saying thanks to everybody once again. Leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, like me on Facebook, and at the end of the day, when this baby's all finished, I'm going to go into how you're going to get an opportunity to actually own this baby. Of course, I'm in New York, I'm in Brooklyn, so you got to be in Brooklyn, you got to be able to pick it up. There's no way you're going to ship it, but stick with me. Let's vote. Give me your input because we're going to build it. Don't have a lot of time. Next month is the aquarium meeting. We're looking at April, is right around the time that we're going to be meeting in the Brooklyn Aquarium, New York Aquarium. So come on, babe. This is D from Brooklyn, keeping my sanity, keeping my tanks. Thank you for everybody for watching. Thank you for everybody for what you guys have helped me with. We all swap ideas, projects, keep each other in the game, and I look forward to hearing from you. So until next time, see ya.